East Atlanta, the Web Zone Cyber Cafe offers a convenient and enjoyable location to check email, surf the internet, print, scan, fax documents, and make copies, all with one location. Visitors can connect to the internet using our high-speed computers and receive online assistance at no additional charge. Our 1,500 square feet cyber cafe is staffed with highly qualified and knowledgeable trainers. Ask about our mobile training for seniors program. We deliver up to 8 internet-ready computers to your community center and train seniors to effectively use the computer and safely surf the internet. Visit us online at www.thewebzoneatl.com or call 770-465-4000 for more information and rates. The Web Zone. Get away and get online.
Station with the
Welcome to the Master Christian Dog Show. I am Master Christian. I'm here with Super Producer B. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
All right. We got a good show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about common dog behaviors. You know, the things that everybody sees that they might not understand, but they still go on. I want to give a shout out to my last week's guest, Doug. Dougie Fresh is sitting in on the side. Great guy. He did good for what we had going on. The listening line is 401, 347-0481. The call-in line will not be on today. We're having a little technical difficulty with that, but you can go and listen live and watch live on TheBeatDropsRadio.com, and you'll be able to put all of your questions on there. When I see your question come up, I'll be able to field it and give you a good answer, a solution for your problem. So when we get started to talk about common dog behaviors, first behavior that I have that people really wonder about is tail chasing. The thing about tail chasing is we'll be back in a minute with TheBeatDropsRadio.com, and we'll start off with that. How long is this?
What was that last song? I'm sorry.
Bang Bang?
Yeah.
This number 2 on the top Billboard charts.
We guarantee to keep you
Calm
updated
down.
and entertained every
Do
day.
your show, man. I'm sorry.
The Bianca
I'm
Burwell
not here.
Show. Don't miss it.
I
3
don't
to
want to be
5 p.m.
distracted.
Eastern Standard Time. Tell a friend, and follow us on Instagram, Bianca_Burwell. See you later. Tune in now. Tune in.
And we're back with the Master Christian Dog Show. First, I want to tell you guys, the call-in line is down today. The listen-in line is 401-347-0418. You can follow me on Facebook at Master Christian, on Instagram at Master Christian 404, on Twitter at MCDT404. My email is masterchristian404@gmail.com. The website is masterchristian.com. Master Christian Dog Training, someone you can trust. Now, before we get into talking about the tail chasing and everything, let me tell you, if you got questions, you need to go ahead and go to the website where it says watch live, and you'll be able to type in all of your questions so we can field your questions, because I'm here to help. I'm here to help everybody that needs help. And without your questions, I'm just giving you information that you might not necessarily need. But everybody needs a little information about their dog. So let's get started with these common behaviors, such as tail chasing, crotch snipping, scooting, eating grass, humping, the reverse sneeze. And it's a bunch of things that everybody's dog does, but everybody doesn't know why. So the tail chasing is at the top of my list. And the reason puppies chase their tail, Bianca, do you know why puppies chase their tail?
I have absolutely no idea,
But
it's interesting to watch.
You've seen them chase their tail.
Yeah, I've seen.
It's the same thing like babies looking at their fingers and touching their toes and everything. The tail is interesting to them. So once they get started doing it, because dogs are compulsive and obsessive, they can't stop themselves.
Gotcha. All right.
And that brings me into another compulsive thing that they do. It's licking. They lick themselves in all different places, but once they start licking themselves and it becomes a wound or a sore, then that's when the compulsion comes in, because then they can't stop themselves. Then they become obsessive with the wound and they can lick themselves to the bone. It's called a hot spot.
What?
Yeah.
I felt like it was part of a grooming situation.
Well, if it's not obsessive, they can lick themselves around, but if they start licking in one spot and they're on one spot all the time, then that's when the obsession comes in. That's when they start bleeding. Now, what you need to do for this, some people get the halo that goes around their head, so they won't be able to lick the spot, because you got to get the spot to heal up. Then you need to get some peroxide, spray it with peroxide, and they have a special thing called bitter apple. Bitter apple is not only for when they lick themselves, it's for when they're chewing on your furniture, if there's certain things that they're messing with. Bitter apple is a spray deterrent. So with the bitter apple, what you want to do is you want to spray the site. First, you want to clean the site so there's no dirt or anything on it.
Right.
That's what the peroxide was for.
Okay.
Then you want to take the bitter apple, you want to spray that site that they're licking on. It might be bleeding a little bit or something. It's a sore.
Okay.
Then you want to take the bitter apple and spray a little into their mouth so they know how it tastes. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to foam at the mouth a little bit. There's going to little foamy stuff, and then they're not going to mess with that spot until it wears off. So you have to stay aware of what's going on, because if you don't, the dog will go right back to the spot. Some dogs lick the bitter apple too. I tasted it. It's not so good, but still, it's a deterrent. Now, when using a deterrent, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The security guard in the parking lot is a deterrent too, but people still rob the store.
Well, yeah.
So the next thing is crotch sniffing. And this is a big one, because every dog that walks up to a person, especially women, they stick their nose right in your crotch. And I don't like it when it's my dog, so I make sure my dogs stay next to me, because my dogs are trained. And people let it happen all the time. Male dogs, they sniff in men's crotch. They go around and do these things, and then people get angry. But what's going on is dogs like to sniff each other's butts. everywhere they go. You see, you take them to the dog park, they work their way around, they're
I'm
sniffing
cool
each
with
other's
the
butt.
dogs doing that to one another, but why are they doing that to humans?
Because you're just a two-legged animal, and they want to know where you've been, where you came from. So they're reading your news. That's how they do that. TMZ, yeah, they're getting it first. They're getting it up front. They don't even have to pay for the article. They walk right up to you, they stab their nose into your crotch, and they figure out what's going on. Especially, say you're on your cycle or something, that happens a lot. People are like, oh, why is the dog doing this? Because the dog wants to know what's going on with you. And that's how they find it out. They smell you. They can't ask you. You know, what they going to say? Hey, Bianca, where you been today? No, they're going to come in. They're going to check you out.
That's some uncomfortable stuff. And it just seems like that can be something that's under control.
Well, under control, you would need some obedience training. Once you have obedience training, then the person is responsible for what they do with the dog, and the person is able to stop the behavior.
Okay.
But if the dog is not on the same page as the person, why would they stop?
Gotcha.
You know, it comes from your human on down the leash to the dog. I said that word, leash. Everybody needs to get a leash. Everybody needs to get a leash. A customer called me a little while ago, and they were supposed to call in, so I'm going to field their question right now on air. They called about, they have a dog that's trained, and she's a great dog. She's a high drive dog. She's a Shepherd Husky mix. And their family just came to visit. They brought 2 Shih Tzus with them. Now, with having a trained dog in your house, the dog is living a certain way. It knows that there's rules and regulations, and it's going to abide by your rules and regulations because you're attentive to what's going on. Then the X factor comes in. Family comes to visit. They bring not 1, 2 untrained dogs into your house. With the 2 untrained dogs coming into the house, the trained dog is going to have a problem with that. First and foremost, the trained dog is probably on leash some of the time when it's in the house, because that's how you are attentive to your dog. You have to physically be attentive to your dog.
Gotcha. When
2 dogs come into the house that aren't trained and they're not off leash, all hell breaks loose. So what was going on was the dog was trying to fight and bite the other dogs. They're allowed to fight each other. They're fighting back and forth. And for the trained dog that knows their rules, that's unacceptable behavior. So what the trained dog wants to do is, the trained dog wants to go check them. And when dogs check other dogs, they check them hard. When a mother dog checks the puppies, it's a hard bite because they don't want to go back over this.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
When the trained dog sees that other dogs are in his house that don't have to abide by any rules, eventually it's not going to want to abide by the rules either. What my recommendation is for anyone with a trained dog, untrained dog, whatever's going on, corral your dog, put them on leash in the house, reel them in until the time comes that the dog is mature enough to be off leash in the house. After the dog is mature enough to be off leash in the house, you still have your leash. So
how are you dealing with if you got folks that's you've got the trained dog, they bringing them in your house? How do you, from that perspective, deal with the people that's bringing the untrained dogs in your house?
Whose house is it again? You said that.
Yeah, and I want to know how do you?
You said it's your house.
Exactly. I want to know how does that person deal with the people that are bringing an untrained dog in your house?
If those dogs are coming in my house, they need to be on leash. That's the first thing that goes on.
I know. That's
you
what you
have
said,
to tell the person
gotcha.
that is coming into your house with these untrained dogs, I do not let dogs move around my house that are not mature and trained off leash.
Gotcha. And
they have to shut it down. And what I'm saying is the 2 dogs that came in are fighting each other because they have the opportunity to fight each other. How do dogs fight each other if they're being kept up with by the people? That means that the people aren't being attentive enough, because if dogs are touching and you're not stopping them from touching and they begin to fight, that's not the dogs doing that. That's you set up a dog fight. And I know people don't want to hear that, but we are in control. And from the door, before a dog walks into my house off leash, because I'm attentive to my dogs, I'll give them a leash. If you don't want to put your dog on leash in my house, your dog can't come in my house. Sometimes you have to stop the person and show them what the rules are. The rules aren't just for the dogs in the house. The rules are for the people. The rules are for everybody. The rules are for you. And in maintaining the rules, it makes you have to work too.
Okay.
It's all work. We can't get around it. If you don't use your human energy to fix the problem,
right,
then the problem will continue. We're going to get back in a minute with the Master Christian Dog Show on TheBeatDropRadio.com. WBBE. Out.
It's your girl, Jay Millie.
Hey, make sure to check out Full Belly Radio every Wednesday
from 7 to 9 p.m. right here on TheBeatDropsRadio.com.
Oh, sorry, I got caught up. You know, the music's so hot over here at TheBeatDropsRadio.com that you might get caught up a little bit. But Christian and Bianca, hey. So the next thing that is a common dog behavior is scooting. And everybody wants to know why their dog is dragging their butt around their carpet. You want to know about that, Doug? All right. The reason why your dog is dragging their butt around the carpet is because they like to do it. If a dog scoots a lot, you might need to go to the vet. Dogs' butts be itching and everything's going on. Yeah, they like to do it, man. They like to get the scoop.
You know, after they have a bowel movement or whatever, they trying to clean their butt.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes. That's out in the grass and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes on the carpet, but they really like that feeling too. And it's another reason for this I haven't got to yet. Sometimes their anal sacs are impacted. So their butt is irritated and they need someone to release that. It's secretion. See, it's liquid in your anus that when you have to go to the bathroom.
I gotta throw a disclaimer out there.
No.
Like squeezing
anal sacs. Yes. But when you go to the bathroom, if there's no liquid there, it would be dry and it would hurt you every time. So when the dogs go to the bathroom, the anal sacs secrete a liquid so it comes out wet and smooth. Yeah. And when those anal sacs get impacted, they swell up and they irritate the dog. So that's when the dog does all that scooting its butt and everything because they're trying to unimpact them anal sacs. So you can go to the vet. They can show you how to do it because it's not that hard to do. You want to get you some gloves and stuff to do it. But the groomer also does anal sacs, so you can go to a groomer and they can do the anal sacs for you. It's not a hard thing to get done, but it's a necessary thing because sometimes it happens to, especially small dogs. Big dogs, not so much, but small dogs, their anal sacs get impacted a lot. The next thing on my list is my favorite, humping. Dog ever try to hump you, Bianca?
When I was younger and I was around dogs, yes.
All right, humping.
Like, get off my leg. What the heck is going on?
Yeah, and you're lucky you got the dog off your leg because once the dog claims you, it's a dominant move, and trying to get it off the dog can bite you. Humping is a natural thing that dogs do because, you know, that's how they make puppies and things. They hump stuff. So not only male dogs hump, female dogs will grab you and hump on you too. It's a dominant move. It's domination. You understand? It's from the top. They grab you and they got you. Right. But the bigger, stronger dogs, they'll bite you when you try to get them up off of you. The way to stop humping is training because the person, like everything else, must be attentive and be able to control their dog. You can't verbally stop a dog from humping unless you've dominated the dog. And in dominating the dog, you've been going too heavy. You don't want to dominate the dog. You want the dog to be paying attention to you. That's why we use a leash in the house and we use a leash around people until the dog knows that that is unacceptable behavior.
Gotcha.
All right? If they don't stop humping, call your trainer. You can call Master Christian Dog Training. We can help you stop the dog from humping. We can fix that problem. Then you have the reverse sneeze that goes on. When dogs are sucking in and you think they're choking or having a seizure or anything, it's called a reverse sneeze. And they do it for a little while and then it stops. They look funny, their eyes will be bulged and they'll stick out their head. If you want to help them, you can massage their throat and that'll help them through it, or give them something to lick. You want to take their mind off the reverse sneeze. You want to cover their nose and make them swallow if you can. If they're doing it too much, call a vet. Trainer can't hurt.
You make them swallow?
Yeah. Yeah, because
how can you make them swallow?
You rub. By covering their nose, that'll make them swallow. Yeah, okay. It's a little trick. But like everything else that they're doing, if they're sneezing too much, if they're choking up and everything, you want to consult your vet and find out what's going on.
Okay.
Next thing we got is eating grass. Your lawn might not look yummy to you, but your dog has other ideas. Dogs like some greenery in their diet, and they'll eat grass to soothe their stomach every once in a while. But back to what I just said. If it becomes an issue and they're compulsively eating grass, then you want to slow them down. You want to call the vet. You want to find out if something has gone on, because it's not normal to eat grass all the time. In the grass, there's probably poop if you got a dog. Dogs eat poop because poop has texture. And a dog will try to eat anything. Dog systems are set up that they can get a nutritional value out of anything they eat other than plastic. So, yeah, they can take the nutrients out of the poop too. But if you are out there and you're attentive, if you're out in your yard with your dog, then you can deter them from eating the poop, and you can clean it up after they poop and get on a good cleaning regimen and schedule for yourself. If they're trying to eat poop too much, that's called carpophagia. That's an illness that dogs have, and they have pills called deter and no poop and things like that that you can go to the pet store to get. But that same disclaimer that I keep giving you about consult your vet, they're eating too much poop, you need to consult your vet.
How do you know when they're eating too much poop? I mean, because
if you're,
I see it the first time, I'm like, that's nasty.
Yeah, but if you're, when I go out with my dogs, I go out with my dog. When my dogs go outside, I just don't let them out the door and close the door. I'm in the yard. I'm building a bond. I'm making sure they're not eating poop, grass, and all the other things. So you have to be out there to show them what you don't want them to do. They're just being dogs. And a dog will be a dog will be a dog. Dogs do everything. They're not people. Hey, some people might. They're kind of nasty, yo. Kind of nasty, yo. Also, they'll roll in the nastiest things in your yard. Poop, stinky stuff. Dog wants to put a scent on them. In the wild, they don't want their own scent. So this is carried over into the domestic dog. When a dog is going around, it wants the nasty scent because you're not going to hunt me with this nasty scent on me. Makes sense, don't it?
Oh, okay.
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
That I want to change my natural smell so you can't find me. People do it too when they're hunting. They'll put deer urine on them, all kind of stuff. So you don't smell like a person anymore. You smell like something that's in that environment. Now, we're going to get back to these behaviors and things, but I need to take a minute and talk to everybody about some tips about babies and dogs, because one of my friends has a newborn baby at home, and you want to prepare the dog months in advance. You want to maybe take them around some other children and get them used to children. You don't want to let your dog just jump in your baby's face, but you still want to give the dog a lot of attention even when the baby comes home, because the dog has been there for quite some time normally. And all of a sudden you bring this new baby home, and now the dog gets zero attention. Dog has feelings too. Okay. You've been there for the dog through everything the dog's been going through, right? And now you're not there for anything that the dog's going through, and then that can build up some jealousy. So in doing training and exercises, you want to help the dog become acclimated to the baby. You want to put the dog on leash and not let the dog do what it wants to with the baby until the baby is a little bit bigger. You don't want the dog licking all in the baby's face. No. Dogs lick their butts. They eat stool. They eat grass. They eat other things outside. You don't want those germs on your baby. Not at all. Some people do. That's nasty. Then the baby's face breaks out. Toe up. Boo-boo. Fecal matter on my feces. Doodle feces, like Michael Jackson said. Mercy. Yeah, you remember that one? No, I don't remember that. When they took Michael Jackson to jail, when they interviewed him after being in jail, he said that they put him in a bathroom. He needed to use the restroom, and they put him in a bathroom with doo-doo feces smeared all on the wall and everything. My man Mike. Yeah, you know that destroyed him. Wow. They put him in that nasty bathroom. Mike never seen that. He probably don't even look when he goes. Come on. Somebody is probably standing on the side saying, Michael, your warm rag is ready. You know, with the babies though, you want to watch and observe your dogs. You want to make sure that the dog is not dominating your baby. You want to make sure the baby is not dominating your dog, because you are in control of everything. If you aren't in control, then who is? Do you know? If you're not in control of your dog, who's in control? It's nature taking its course. Your dog's going to be in control because they're going to dominate whatever they need to do. So for all those people that have new babies, create different zones. Create dog zone, baby zones. Make sure that There's places for the baby to go that the dog can't go. There's places for the dog to go that the baby can't go. And give everybody love and attention, because you don't want anybody to be starved of it in your house. Everything that we do is translated to everything that goes on. If you want a happy, healthy household, you must create it. It just doesn't happen on its own. If you want your children to do the things that you must show them, and not say, you should know better. You're a certain age, and age doesn't do anything. So we're going into the next break. This is Master Christian on the Master Christian Dog Show. This is the TheBeatDrops.com radio, WBBE, and we'll be back in a minute.
TheBeatDropsRadio.com.
Yeah, I missed the radio. Way to pick that up, B.
Jay, come on, man.
Get it, Jay. Get it, Jay. Get it, Jay.
I'm this grassy.
idea that you know would make a great show? Then contact the Beat Drops Radio and email your YouTube links, website, and contact information to TheBeatDropsRadio@gmail.com to set up an appointment today. Act quickly as we are gearing up for the new year and expanding our network to include interesting, creative, fun, original, and captivating shows. And this just might be you. We are a family-friendly, top
You got 15
45
minutes.
AM radio station located in the Atlanta metro area. Now, if you don't live in the Atlanta area and have pre-recorded shows, we have time slots available for you too. Don't delay and email us today, the Beat.
Back in with Master Christian and Miss B.
What's going on?
I got a different name for you every time we come in, right? It's B, Bianca, whatever. Master producer, super producer, turntable wizard. You can follow me on Facebook at Master Christian, Instagram Master Christian 404, Twitter MCDT404. You can email me at masterchristian404@gmail.com. The website is masterchristian.com. The listen-in live line is 401-347-0418. And we're going to go move into the news because we have news today about dogs that'll blow your mind. So the top of the news here is we got a woman in, let's see, is it Onslow County? Got a woman in Onslow County accused of killing her dogs by locking them in the bathroom. She locked 3 dogs in the bathroom for a month with no food. What's up with that?
I'm just amazed at how that I'm just amazed. That's a long time. They had to have been barking and scratching something.
A long time.
That's a long time. That's ridiculous.
3 dogs in the bathroom for a month. Now, fortunately, one of them survived. It was a 7-week-old puppy. They're getting her healthy. They're gonna make sure that she gets a home after they help the dog. It's just ridiculous. I believe people that if you can't take care of the dog, get rid of the dog. Find somebody that can take care of it. Take it to the Humane Society. Do what you got to do. Do not lock your dogs in the bathroom for a month. That's totally irresponsible. And it's just wrong, man. It's wrong in so many kind of ways. That's what that's all I got to say about that. Then we have this Great Dane. We got 2 Great Danes to talk about. We got one Great Dane that died a couple weeks ago that was the tallest dog on earth. I don't have all the information on that, but
That was a tall dog.
Tallest dog on earth. Great Dane.
That was a tall dog.
He was super tall. You can look him up on the web. But then we have a Great Dane that survives a rough visit to the vet. 3-year-old Great Dane ate 43.5 socks.
Black socks.
No, the thing is, when you have a dog, you can't leave things for the dog to eat because dogs swallow. Like I was telling you about the plastic in the
Right.
between the segments. Dogs don't chew; they swallow. That's why they have special bowls made with a thing in the middle. It's a circle in the middle of the bowls. It's called no gulp bowls or no swallow bowls, slow feeding bowls. They got a few names for it, so the dog can only get a certain amount of food so they don't choke themselves. Because dogs like to go in, gulp, 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 and swallow everything. Now,
I didn't know they weren't chewing.
yeah, no, they're not chewing. They're not chewing unless they have to. But in your home, you must put all small objects up and watch your dog to see if they have a problem. That's the thing about when I say keep the dog on a leash until the dog knows how to exist in your home, because then you can deter these behaviors. That's a behavior. The dog is going to eat your socks. It's going to eat your panties. It's going to eat your drawers. It's going to eat T-shirts. We had a Doberman that had to be put down. He ate a towel, and he didn't have to be put down. He went in for surgery. The towel was wrapped up in his intestine. He died after the surgery from infection.
Yeah.
You don't want to allow, they don't know what these things are. These are human things. They don't know what your house is. Your house is the cave that they're existing in. So you know that this is a house. You know that these things are dangerous. You don't want to leave things around for your dog to eat. My Doberman one day went behind a dresser, pulled out the rat poison, and when I got home, I saw the rat poison chewed up. Yeah, she ate rat poison. So I went straight to the web. I went to Google. What do I do about the dog eating rat poison? What do I do? it said make the dog throw up. What, I'm supposed to stick my finger down their throat? No. Kappa peroxide. Peroxide bubbles. You got to put a funnel in their mouth, pour the kappa peroxide, so it goes down in their stomach. It starts to bubble up in their stomach. They throw up everything that they ate. You have to do this quickly because,
Peroxide.
yeah.
I've never heard of that before.
Rat, boy, you know how peroxide fizzes when you spray it on something.
Yeah.
Does the same thing when it hits that stomach acid.
Okay.
But rat poison is anticoagulant. So it's not going to kill the dog in the beginning. It's going to make them internally bleed. And they're going to die a slow, painful death. And they're not going to even be able to let you know. So pick up your stuff, people. If you're dirty and nasty, stop being dirty and nasty. Clean up your house. Make sure that it's dog safe, baby safe, everything's safe. And if you do think that your dog ate something, like I said, peroxide will get them to throw up. But if it's more than, you know, rat poison or something that you can get them to throw up, you got to go to the vet. Now, let me tell you why you want to stop your dog from eating socks and towels and panties and all that. That surgery costs about $3,500. Rocks also. You want to be attentive outside so the dog doesn't chew up rocks and swallow them because, like I said, they swallow. Yes, I had a friend. He has a German Shepherd. His dog was eating rocks. I went over there and I saw the dog eating rocks, and I said, hey, you going to stop the dog from eating rocks? He said, I don't know what to do. I said, well, one thing would be to remove all the rocks from the yard that the dog is eating. I asked him a couple weeks ago, hey, is your dog still eating rocks? He said, no. I said, what'd you do? He said, this dog trainer guy that I know told me to remove all the rocks from the area, and I did. And I just, you know, all I could do was smile because everybody doesn't listen because they got their own idea of what they want to do. But some of these things help. Now, in a study in the UK, they've been studying the sheepdogs. They want to know why the sheepdog is hurting. So they actually put a GPS on the sheepdog, and what they found out was how the sheepdog is hurting and the movement that it makes. So what they're doing with this data that they collected, they're taking this information and they're using it to try to do crowd control and move large groups of people. Yeah. By using the data that they collected from how the sheepdog herds and how they scoop people in, they're going to apply this for crowd control. When the crowd gets out of order, the police will be able to position themselves in the right spot to move the crowd on from studying the sheepdog. How about that?
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is, because science is all around us. And, you know, now they have a question, and I wish the phones were on, but like I said, y'all can go to the website, and if we get enough time, they're saying, should pit bulls be banned? What you think about that, B? Should pit bulls be banned?
I think people who train pit bulls to attack and be vicious, they need to be banned.
Well, it's not people training pit bulls to attack. It's genetic now. After a certain number of generations that, you know, you knew how to read before they taught you how to read, because your mother knew how to read, your father knew how to read, your grandmother, and it's been a few generations in your family that people were reading. So that's written on your genetic code for you to pick it up quicker. So pit bulls have been fought. They use them for dog fighting.
Yeah.
Then they make litters off of the fighters because they want new fighters.
Yeah.
So it's on their DNA. Pit bulls aren't normally put and trained to attack people. That's a secondary response. They're trained to be dog fighters. In dog training, some pit bulls, we can't even aim at a person, you know, for protection purposes and everything. They're not on that. They're trying to go after the dog. They're called game dogs. And a game dog is something that's going after game. You know, game is wildlife and all. Game dogs, yeah. So in the fight, that's just another game thing that they do. But after generations of doing the same thing, you know, you start to have generational learning in everything. People, animals, whatever you have. But should they be banned?
I don't know. Should it? What's your thought?
My thoughts are that people are misusing dogs altogether, and they feel like dogs are their children. So they're trying to make them human, and a dog will never be human. In doing this, you change the dynamics of what's going on. A lot of people think that when they go get a dog from anywhere, a shelter, a breeder or something, that it's a domestic animal, so it's already domesticated. That's not true. You have to train your animal to domesticate it. in the beginning, you just have a wild animal in your house. That's why they're chewing on everything. They're not listening to you. They're running around. Yes, everything. Swallowing how many socks? 43 and a half socks?
43. I'm trying to figure out the half.
That's what I was wondering about.
What happened to the half sock?
Maybe it was just half a sock, and they when they took it out, they counted that, and they got that done. But, 43 and a half socks is
trying to digest maybe
ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. But in the case of pit bulls being banned, I think it's a case-by-case basis. I think owners need to be, they need to do some screening on people that buy dogs, because everybody's not going to be the ideal owner for a dog. Some people don't deserve to have an animal.
It's the same with kids. Some people don't need to have kids.
Well, that's a whole nother can of worms.
Just saying.
Some people don't need to have kids, but they have the ability to have children, and they do it on their own. And then they beat the children. My mother was on Facebook today speaking about whoopings, and should people be put in jail for whooping their kids and doing all of these things to them? What you think about that, B? Should they be put in jail for whooping their kids?
No. Abusing and beating, that's different from disciplining and chastising.
What about whooping their dogs?
I don't know. I'm not a dog owner like that. I don't treat dogs like humans. I just don't, because they're not.
Okay. The biggest thing about violence is if you bring violence down on a living thing, you're teaching it to be violent.
I don't agree with that when it comes to humans. I do not.
You're teaching it to be violent.
I don't believe that.
So you're saying if you whoop your kids, you're not teaching it to whoop their kids?
What I'm saying is in the beginning, when the child is young, and you're instilling the difference between no, right, wrong. They understand those things as they grow up and progress. Once they get a certain age, you don't have to do that anymore.
Well, what you're doing is teaching. But if you go overboard and it turns into a beating, then the lesson, you didn't teach anything. What you taught was that you're strong enough to beat the child, and you're instilling fear into
them. Well, then that's diametrically opposed to the so-called justice system, because that's exactly what the police do. They'll beat you down, they'll club you, they'll lock you up. What is that teaching? That's not rehabilitating nobody.
It's teaching violence. Everything that humans do is teaching violence. It's violence. Let's see. We got Anthony Aarons.
Hi from Lillian.
Hey, how you doing, Anthony? What's up, Lillian and Lola? That's one of my former customers. They're good people. They come to lessons and everything. He actually has a dog that would try to attack other dogs.
Really?
Yeah, very aggressive dog, and it would set the other dog out to be aggressive. I spoke with him earlier, and he was one of the people that was going to call in, and he told me that because of the help that we've given them with their dogs, the attack is starting to stop. They're not trying to attack every dog. So he was going to call in and let the listeners know what we did to help them stop attacking the dogs.
Because he should type that too. So
man,
people refer back to this show, they can see that come up in the comments.
And surely I'll have them call in next week, because we'll be listening live. We'll be able to talk next week. We gotta be able to do everything we need to do. But for all you dog owners out there, all you parents and everything, let me tell you that you don't have to hit anything to correct it. Hitting is something you're doing for yourself. And if you're frustrated or angry, that can turn into rage. We don't need that. That's not something that should be available in your household, should be available to your children, should be available to your animals, because all you're teaching them to do is fear you, and that's not respect. Although things do respect out of fear, fear is never good. You can't fix it with fear. You want to be education. You want to be teaching. You want them to learn with that correction. So if your whooping is lasting more than 30 seconds, then you're into it for the wrong reason. If you're screaming and hollering while you're beating, they're not hearing anything you say. When you get in an argument, Bianca, does any of the information go back and forth? Do you get anything when you're screaming and hollering? Do they get anything from you?
No, when you're arguing, nobody's listening to themselves anyway. I mean, listening to the other person anyway.
Right.
You only listen to yourself.
So communication is a calm thing, would you say?
Yeah, it is. I mean, so typically what I say is you can't argue with yourself. So it's just better if the other person is upset, just sit and look.
Right, because you don't engage into the fight. Same with the dog, same with the baby. Any violent thing that you're doing is a fight. So even if it's a one-sided fight, it's still a fight.
Exactly.
You know, Mayweather's fights sometimes are kind of one-sided, but you get a $30 million purse for fighting, right?
Yeah, he's pretty paid.
$3 million for one person, $30 million plus. I put that big plus sign in the air because they hadn't counted up the pay-per-view yet. Pay-per-view might have been another 80 million or something.
It's crazy. It's crazy amount of money.
How we get that kind of money?
Sponsors.
Sponsor. That's how he's getting it too.
Yeah.
Because the network is a sponsor.
Yes.
Yeah, so that
All those
pay-per-view.
involved.
But I use that example of a boxing match because that's a structured fight. Anytime that you and your dog are at odds and it's rough behavior going on, that's a fight. Anytime you grab your child or do anything extra, you're actually in a fight. We want to deter these fights and be smarter about it and use positive corrections. So if your child's not doing what you need them to do, you have to change something that you're doing, because if you come at them the same way every time, you're going to get the same result. We want better results. We want to look and learn and do things so the children, the dogs, and everybody else, they can exist in a happy, positive place. I'm going to tell you one time right here, this has been Master Christian on the Master Christian Dog Show. We had super producer Bianca right here. And look for me on Facebook, Master Christian, Instagram, Master Christian 404, Twitter, MCDT404, email masterchristian404@gmail.com. Website is masterchristian.com. And this has been Master Christian. I love y'all, and y'all have a great day. I'm out. Slam it and make sure that it breaks.